In 1765, one decision changed the relationship between Britain and its American colonies forever. Not a battle, not a revolution, a tax. But this tax did something no other law had done before. It made ordinary people furious, and it made rebellion feel possible. This was the Stamp Act. Just 2 years earlier, Britain had won the French and Indian War. The victory expanded British territory in North America, but it also left the British government deep in debt. On top of that, Britain wanted to keep soldiers stationed in the colonies to protect its new land. That cost money. Parliament believed the solution was obvious. The colonies had benefited from the war. The colonies should help pay for it. From Britain's point of view, this seemed fair. British citizens already paid heavy taxes. Parliament saw no reason the colonies should be any different. But Parliament misunderstood something critical. For decades, the colonies had largely governed themselves. Colonial assemblies controlled local taxes and laws. This long period of independence shaped how colonists viewed their rights. And now, those rights were being tested. In March 1765, Parliament passed the Stamp Act. The law required colonists to purchase official government stamps for printed materials. Newspapers, court documents, contracts, licenses, wills, deeds, even playing cards and dice. If it was printed, it needed a stamp. If it didn't have one, it was illegal. This wasn't a tax on trade or foreign goods. It was a tax on daily life. For the first time, Britain wasn't just regulating commerce, it was taxing people directly. Colonists immediately saw the problem. They had no representatives in Parliament. British citizens could vote for lawmakers who approved taxes. Colonists could not. Yet Parliament claimed the authority to tax them anyway. Out of this anger came a powerful phrase: no taxation without representation. At first, resistance was peaceful. Colonial leaders wrote petitions and sent formal protests to Britain. They argued that the Stamp Act violated the traditional rights of Englishmen. Parliament ignored them, and tension rose. As the Stamp Act's start date of November 1st, 1765 approached, protests spread across the colonies. Crowds filled the streets. Effigies of stamp distributors were hung from trees. Demonstrators made their anger impossible to ignore. This was no longer polite disagreement. This was open defiance. In Boston, the situation turned violent. Andrew Oliver, the colony's stamp distributor, became a target. His effigy was paraded through the city. His office was destroyed. Later, a mob attacked his home. The message was clear: enforce the Stamp Act, and there would be consequences. Out of this chaos emerged a powerful resistance movement. They called themselves the Sons of Liberty. Led by figures like Samuel Adams, the Sons of Liberty organized protests and intimidation campaigns that made enforcement nearly impossible. Stamp distributors across the colonies resigned or fled. By the time November 1st arrived, the law existed, but no one was willing to enforce it. The Stamp Act was alive on paper, but dead in reality. In October 1765, representatives from 9 colonies met in New York City at the Stamp Act Congress. Together, they declared that only colonial assemblies had the right to tax the colonies. This was a turning point. The colonies were no longer acting alone. They were acting together. Meanwhile, colonial boycotts of British goods hurt merchants back in Britain. Unsold products piled up, and business leaders pressured Parliament to act. In 1766, Parliament repealed the Stamp Act. Colonists celebrated. Bells rang. Bonfires burned. It felt like victory. But Britain had one final message. On the same day the Stamp Act was repealed, Parliament passed the Declaratory Act, claiming full authority to make laws for the colonies in all cases whatsoever. The warning was clear. We backed down once, but we still hold the power. The Stamp Act changed everything. It showed that Britain would tax without consent and that colonial resistance could work. More importantly, it changed how colonists saw themselves. The road to revolution didn't begin with gunfire. It began with ink, paper, and a stamp.